Okay, so a very good evening to all of you. In this video, we are going to continue talking about the tumors of the salivary glands, and we are going to talk about the Warthin's tumor. For more such videos, head on to our channel and check out our playlist on the tumors of the salivary glands. Okay, so getting right into Warthin's tumor, we know this is the second most common tumor of the salivary glands, only second to pleomorphic adenoma. It represents about 6 to 10% of all parotid tumors, and it is almost always located in the parotid gland. Okay, so this is the unique thing about it. It is almost always or exclusively seen in the parotid gland. The key to understanding Warthin's tumor lies in understanding its other two names, which are papillary cystadenoma lymphomatosum and Adenolymphoma. Okay, so the recurring component here is adenoma, right? So adenoma basically means a tumor of glandular epithelium, right? This is what we have always studied. This is a benign tumor of the glandular epithelium. Now in this adenoma, we have certain characteristics. So first is the presence of a cyst formation. So as you can see here, there is the presence of a cyst formation. The second are the papillary projections inside the cystic spaces, right? And the third is that the rest of the connective tissue is composed of a lymphoid matrix, right? So here you have a cystic formation with papillary projections and connective tissue showing abundant lymphoid matrix. So this is why when you combine all of this, it comes out to be the papillary cystadenoma lymphomatosum. Okay, it is also called adenolymphoma because of the presence of epithelial as well as lymphoid component. Okay, so far we are clear. This is a benign tumor of the glandular epithelium with lymphoid components. In the histogenesis, again, we have to explain the presence of salivary gland tissue as well as the lymphoid tissue, right? So there are two ways we can do that. One is to tell that there is a neoplastic proliferation of the salivary gland tissue which is entrapped in lymph nodes, right? So a proliferation of salivary gland tissue is entrapped in lymph nodes, or it can be a delayed hypersensitivity reaction to salivary ducts which undergo oncocytic change. Okay, so this is a delayed hypersensitivity reaction to salivary ducts, and in response to that you see abundant lymphocytes. Okay, another thing is that it is highly associated with smokers, which is why we saw it more commonly in males. Going into the clinical features, it is more commonly seen in older individuals between the 6th to 7th decade, predominantly males, and it exclusively occurs in the parotid gland. And even in the parotid gland, it appears as a well-defined, slow-growing, painless swelling in the tail of the parotid. Okay, so it is located somewhere in the inferior, it's near the inferior pole behind the angle of the mandible, right? So we know this is the angle of the mandible and this is the lower pole of the parotid. So it is located somewhere over here. It is firm or fluctuant in palpation, and in 5 to 14% of the cases it is seen bilaterally. Okay, so it involves both the parotids. In the presentation, again, it is generally superficial, seldom exceeds 3 to 4 centimeters, and it is clinically indistinguishable from other benign lesions of the parotid gland. So here again, you can see that below the ear and behind the angle of the mandible, you have this swelling arising from the lower pole of the parotid. Histologically, let's first look at the macroscopic features and then the microscopic features. Okay, so in the macroscopic features, what we see is a smooth, soft parotid mass with a well-defined capsule. And if we were to cut it, we would see a variable number of cystic spaces containing thick mucinous material, right? Because we've already studied that this is cystic adenoma, and we would also see some mucinous material. Microscopically, again, I would like to remind you of the two synonyms we have read. One was Adenolymphoma and the other was Papillary cystadenoma lymphomatosum. Right? So, if we were to break this down, we would see the presence of glandular epithelium as well as lymphoid tissue. Right? So, this is why it is made up of two histological components, which are the epithelial and the lymphoid tissue. And as the other name suggested, it has cystic spaces, right? These are cystic spaces. They are lined by papillary projections into the cystic spaces and a connective tissue which has abundant lymphoid component exhibiting certain germinal centers. Okay, so let's just go over this once again. We have cyst formation with papillary projections into the cystic spaces, and the connective tissue has abundant lymphoid component with few areas exhibiting the germinal center. Further, talking about the papillary projections, you see these are bilayered. Okay, so there are two layers. One is the inner cuboidal cells and the other is the outer columnar cells. Okay, so if this is the cystic space, here you have the inner cuboidal cells and outer columnar cells. In the columnar cells, the nuclei are arranged in a palisading pattern, right? So they're all arranged in one line, which gives it the palisading pattern appearance. Finally, the cystic spaces might contain eosinophilic material, right? So again, revising in this diagram, what you see is, first of all, you can clearly make out nice cystic spaces. These are lined by papillary projections which are bilayered. Okay, so if I was to zoom into this, you would see this is a cystic space with papillary projections and this is bilayered. So that would mean that the inner surface is cuboidal while the outer surface is columnar with palisading nuclei, right? The final thing is the lymphoid component exhibiting germinal center. So all around this purple area that you see, it represents the lymphoid component, right? So cystic space, papillary projections which are bilayered and lymphoid matrix. The treatment, it mainly includes surgical excision while preserving the facial nerve. It is easily removed because of the presence in the lower tail, and larger tumors can be removed with superficial parodontictomy. Recurrences and malignant degeneration are rare. So to summarize, again, Warthin's tumor is the second most common tumor of the salivary glands. It is essentially an adenoma with cyst formation, papillary projections and lymphoid matrix. Its other names are Adenolymphoma and Papillary cystadenoma lymphomatosum. In histogenesis, we had read two theories, and in the clinical features, we saw a prevalence in older individuals, males, associated with smoking, and the presence in the inferior pole of the parotid gland. It is slow-growing, painless, firm or fluctuant, and sometimes bilaterally seen. Histologically, we saw it is made up of two components, which are the epithelial and lymphoid. So finally, let's conclude with three questions for you. Name two other names for Warthin's tumor. Tell me the most common site of occurrence and the two histological components that you see in Warthin's tumor. So with this, we come to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any doubts, you can comment it below, and I hope you have a great day ahead. See you.